2021. I yield back.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. Greene.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This has been a pretty interesting hearing today. I'd like to remind everyone here watching this hearing and in this room and my colleagues across the aisle that Joseph R. Biden was inaugurated on January 21st of 2021 and was president and commander-in-chief over the Afghanistan withdrawal. All attempts to blame President Trump for all of the failures and deaths and arming the terrorist Taliban government fall completely and squarely on the shoulders of President Biden. Since 2002, the U.S. has spent over $2.3 trillion in Afghanistan. The U.S. lost 2,328 U.S. military lives and over 20,000 other military members were wounded. Our country is responsible for funding and building the mines in Afghanistan that hold $1 trillion worth of rare earth minerals. The United States had intelligence days before the suicide bomber exploded himself, murdering 13 of our military members. They had the intelligence. It was even in the news that they knew this was coming, but yet it happened anyways. Arming the terrorist Taliban, the Taliban who we fought since 2002, is unthinkable, and most Americans can't even comprehend it. And now, since the failure and the withdrawal in Afghanistan, Bagram is now under the control of Taliban and China. And since Biden's failure, $8 billion has been given in assistance to Afghans in Afghanistan. It is incomprehensible, but yet we're here trying to figure out how and why and what happened. And I have to tell you, most people I talk to in my districts and most people I talk to when I travel across the country cannot understand how this happened. And many veterans I talk to take pride in our military, as I take pride in our military, and they are so ashamed that our military was humiliated in this failure in Afghanistan. And so I do have some questions, and I thank you all for coming to speak with our committee. Mr. Sopko, in October 2021 letter to Daphna Rand, an official at the State Department, you said the Biden administration instructed CGAR to remove all reports from your website following the collapse and asked you to redact information on the website. Who specifically in the admin instructed your office to do that, and why?
I don't remember the name. We can get the name of the person who sent that. I don't have that in front of me. The explanation was that this could be potentially a threat to Afghans, but we asked for any specific threats. Do you have any specific threat information? And some of the requests were just unbelievable. They wanted us to take down our complete website and also to take down from all of our reports the name of, let's say, President Ghani. We assumed the Taliban knew who President Ghani was. Why do we have to scrub all of our reports for that? They also wanted us to take down the name of a city in the United States, which I think the Taliban could look at a map. So it was a bizarre request, and they never did give us any information as to why they wanted us to pull down all of our reports, which have been public, many of them, for 12 years.
Yeah, that is pretty hard to understand why any administration would want to censor information. And you're right. I mean, Afghanistan can easily look at the map, or they can talk to their friends in China because they flew a spy balloon across our country, and I'm sure they pretty much have pictures of everything. Thank you. Mr. Storch, on August 17, 2021, a U.S. airstrike in Afghanistan killed 10 civilians, including 7 children. Since the strike was supposed to target an ISIS terrorist, Mark Milley called it a righteous strike. A few weeks later, however, U.S. Central Command admitted that they had hit the wrong Toyota Corolla. My question is, as the Inspector General of the Department of Defense, do you see this kind of absolute failure from Mark Milley a lot? And have there been other times when the military has hit the wrong Toyota Corolla or another target on accidentally killing a bunch of innocent children? And then Mark Milley called it a righteous strike. I still don't understand that. Can you explain, please?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much for the question. So the strike on, I believe it was 29 August, our office did do a classified review of that strike. And we looked at what led up to it. We looked at the reporting on it. We looked at the communications thereafter. As I say, it's classified, so I can't talk about it in this briefing, but happy in an appropriate setting to provide more information about that. I would also say that's one of a number of reviews that our office has done regarding different kinetic strikes, not limited to Afghanistan as well. And as I say, happy to provide more information in the appropriate setting.
Thank you, Mr. Storch. We'll have committee staff follow up, and I yield back my time.
Greene for 5 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you, Chief Modlin. Thank you for Chief Chavez for coming in and speaking with us today. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about unaccompanied minors. I'm sure this is a very serious situation that you're familiar with. Under the Trump administration, with Title 42, can you tell me, when you had unaccompanied minors, what would happen to those children?
Thank you for the question, ma'am. So before or after Title 42, so my point is Title 42 did not affect how we deal with unaccompanied children. We do not expel unaccompanied children. So when unaccompanied children are encountered, they're brought into our custody. We make sure they get any medical attention they need, showers, change of clothes, all of that. And then they're turned over to HHS's ORR within 72 hours.
And that's how it's handled right now under the Biden administration?
That's how it's been handled for as long as I've been handling unaccompanied children, ma'am.
And were they sent back to their home countries before the Biden administration?
Not to my knowledge. But again, ma'am, what I would say is, again, that's much further down the process than where the Border Patrol is. So once we encounter them, whether it was 3 or 4 years ago or yesterday, they're brought into our custody, assessed, and then eventually turned over to ORR. Where they end up, that's much longer after we have them.
Many of them were sent back to their home countries before, under Trump's administration. I want to talk to you a minute about, are you familiar with, there was a 20-year-old autistic woman in Maryland who was strangled to death by an illegal alien here, 17-year-old MS-13 gang member. Under the program as it is right now, many of the MS-13 gang members are being brought in the country as unaccompanied minors. They're very young. They're under 18, and then their numbers have doubled, maybe tripled in our country. What have you seen with that?
Again, ma'am, thanks for the question. My personal experience in the 2 years I've been in the Tucson sector, I'm unaware of any significant amount of MS-13 gang members within the unaccompanied children population.
Well, how are you able to know if they're gang members or not? Do you have an MS-13 gang database that you're able to search them up in there and somehow find out if they're gang members or not?
So, ma'am, with our agents that have a significant amount of training and experience, there are things they look for. There are certainly, as you know, you've probably seen photographs of MS-13 gang members with significant amount of tattoos. Sometimes it's simply an admission of it. Sometimes it may be other things that trigger agents to start questioning.
Right, but Chief Modlin, they may not have had all their tattoos yet, being that they're young and under 18. Being 15 or 16-year-old. As a matter of fact, they are coming in the country at a much higher rate. That's why this 20-year-old autistic woman was killed, because of an illegal alien, a 17-year-old MS-13 gang member, and she'd be alive today if our border was secure. One of my Democrat colleagues was talking about the wall as if it doesn't work. I assure you that the Democrats believe in walls because they've erected one around the Capitol today because President Joe Biden is delivering his State of the Union address to the country. Walls do work, and we want you to have a wall as one of the toolkits in your box to stop the illegal invasion into our country that's occurring every single day. Are you aware of how many fentanyl deaths that the percentage increase in my home state of Georgia?
Ma'am, I'm unaware.
Well, I'll just let you know, fentanyl have increased to 350% in Georgia. We're not a border state. We're not along the southern border, but fentanyl deaths have gone up 350%. Are you aware of how much money the Mexican cartels make selling fentanyl, or what their industry makes?
Ma'am, again, thank you. So what I do know is that the cartels are making billions, and whether it's fentanyl, whether it's moving people across the border, everything's a commodity to them. And to your point earlier, you not being a border state, it has been said many times, and I completely agree that every state is a border state, ma'am. Everything that happens on the border affects the entirety of the country.
Absolutely, and that's why a young lady in Maryland should be alive today, because our border should be secure. It's a $20 billion industry. The cartels have $20 billion, and that's because our border is not secure. Now, we appreciate the job that you do, both of you, and we're thankful for you, but we are completely against the policies of the Biden administration that's allowing the murder of over 300 Americans a day from fentanyl, allowing the Mexican cartels to illegally make over $20 billion, and allow our country to be invaded every single day.
love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just give me up. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack.